Hi guys! Today I'm going to review The Bride of Frankenstein. The Bride of Frankenstein came out in 1935 and it's the first sequel to Frankenstein from 1931. The director was James Whale and he also did the first film. Boris Karloff returns as the monster, as does Colin Clive as Frankenstein. Dwight Fry returns also, playing a different character. Well-known actor John Carradine also pops up in an uncredited role, playing a hunter. The film's based on 1818 novel by Mary Shelley, who also appears in the Prologue, played by Elsa Lanchester, who also plays the bride in the film. The film runs 75 minutes and was cut from 90 minutes because of the censors. Jack Pierce gave the monster a more burnt look, with her hair being burnt short and more scars. This was to create continuity with the first film, where at the end of the first film the monster was in a burning windmill. It cost $397,000 to make and was a massive success, making back $2 million. And fans and critics consider it to be one of the greatest sequels ever made. The film stars Boris Karloff as the monster, Colin Clive as Henry Frankenstein, Valerie Hobson as Elizabeth, who replaced Mia Clarke from the first film, Ernest Thesiger as Doctor Pretorius, and Elsa Lanchester as the bride, who is credited with a question mark in the film. And she also plays Mary Shelley in the Prologue. Frankenstein decides to leave his evil experiments, but Doctor Pretorius kidnaps his wife, forcing the scientists to help create a new creature. And so they make a female for the monster. So even though there's a 4-year gap, this film follows directly from the first film, where the monster survives the fire. So I've always loved these Universal monster films, ever since I used to watch the BBC horror double bills that they had during the summer. I've done a lot of videos about them, so you can watch them if you like, reviewing all the films. So they used to always have a Universal horror film first, followed by usually a Hammer film. So a black and white one, then a coloured one. So that's what got us into Universal horror films. I especially like the Frankenstein series. They were my favourites, and this is probably the best one of the series. And I class it as one of the best sequels ever made. Similar to films like The Empire Strikes Back, which I think's better than the first film in the series. So Boris Karloff and Colin Clive return from the first film, playing monster and creator, as well as the film director James Whale. And James Whale, in my opinion, directed the best 2 films in the series, the first and the second one. So the film starts with a prologue. Elsa Lanchester plays Mary Shelley. A really surprising scene where they're asking her what happened next after the monster died in the fire, and she tells them that the story doesn't end, that it continues, and she tells them what happens next, and that's how the film starts. So I thought that was a really interesting way to start the film.
That wasn't the end at all. Would you like to hear what happened after that? I feel like telling it. Imagine yourself standing by the wreckage of the mill. The fire is dying down. Soon the bare skeleton of the building will be visible.
So you see footage of the first film where the monster's in the burning windmill, and then the film starts proper. And I thought Elsa Lanchester was really good in it. She has like a wicked smile. She's a mixture of sweet innocence, but there's a subtle naughtiness to her.
Astonishing creature.
I, Lord Byron.
Frightened of thunder, fearful of the dark, and yet you have written a tale that sent my blood into icy creeps. Look at her, Shelley.
I also like the continuity where Jack Pierce, the makeup artist, and he's brilliant. He did some outstanding makeup on these Universal monsters. And in this film, he gives the monster a different look, where the hair's sort of like burnt a bit, and there's scars where the monster survived the fire. I thought that was really good and clever. So he created some outstanding makeup. That's partly responsible why these films were so successful, because the monsters look good, iconic appearances. Although the makeup's great, for me, the monster looked scarier in the first film because of the dark shadows under the eyes, and the monster was more mysterious looking. And in this film, the monster speaks and becomes more intelligent, but it loses some of its scare factor for me. Although Karloff's brilliant in it, I still thought the monster looked a bit more eerier in the first film. But that's really the only fault of the film. I thought Karloff was great. He becomes more human in this film, so the audience has more sympathy for him, because he's learning how to talk and communicate with people.
Before you came, I was all alone. It is bad to be alone.
Alone. Bad. Friend. Good. Friends. Good.
And it reminds me a lot of the film Frankenstein, A True Story, where that creature starts to talk and becomes more human. So they're quite similar, actually. I love the scene where he makes a friend of this blind hermit, and they both like each other's company. And there's a brilliant scene where the crescent background glows. So another form of symbolism. There's a lot of Christianity symbolism in this film. Images of Christianity appear throughout the film, where the monster and the hermit share a room, and a crucifix on the wall of his hut begins to glow before a fade out. There's also images of the monster eaten, of bread and wine, and it represents the Last Supper. There's even one scene where the monster looks like he's about to get crucified, being propped up on a pole by the villagers. Unfortunately, the censors got the way with the film, and I think they cut about a quarter of an hour out. It was originally going to be about 90 minutes. However, now it's only 75 minutes. And unfortunately, I think that footage is lost for good, because it's such an old film now. 90 years old. The film was subjected to censorship, with 15 minutes being cut out. The censor objected to lines of dialogue originally submitted in the script, in which Henry Frankenstein and his work are compared to that of God. Also, the shot of the monster rushing through a graveyard to the figure of a crucified Jesus and attempting to rescue the figure from the cross. The censor also objected to a number of murders in the film, and the director was advised to reduce the number. Censors in England and China objected to a scene in which the monster gazes longingly upon the body of an intended bride to be reanimated, citing concerns that it looked like necrophilia. There was even shots of Elsa Lanchester as Mary Shelley cut, in which the censor felt that there was too much of her breasts visible. I was surprised by how epic this film looked with massive sets. It's also interesting that the lighting's used to great effect. Especially, there's some close-up shots where there's lots of shadow on the people's faces, the actors. Colin Clive's really good as a harassed Dr. Frankenstein. He's getting blackmailed by Doctor Pretorius. He's captured his wife, so he's forcing him into working with him. I thought Frankenstein's wife, Valerie Hobson, I thought she was a little bit wooden in this film. I preferred Mia Clarke from the first film, but she's still okay, I suppose. I thought Dr. Pretorius was a wonderful character. He's so camp.
The Bride of Frankenstein.
The Bride of Frankenstein. Yeah, hell, what a bloody camp-looking bugger he is. It's like bloody Danny LaRue.
On Mother Kelly's doorstep, down paradise row.
He's nearly as camp as that bloody new Doctor. Shitty Gatway. Oh, it's my only weakness. Brilliant character.
You like gin? It is my only weakness.
Bloody hell, what a bloody camp sissy. The Bride of Frankenstein. Hey, Bones, he might offend people. You can't bloody say a note these days. There's also a really bizarre scene where he shows the Doctor his experiments with miniaturised people.
Poor Archbishop. He has his hands full. There. That'll keep you quiet.
It's one of them scenes that shouldn't work, because when you think about it, it's so silly and shouldn't belong in this film. It's in the realms of fantasy, but it's so bizarre that it actually works. Because this film's such a strange film. This scene actually works for it. It's also great effects for its time. Another interesting thing is comparing it to the first film. The first film didn't have a music score, whereas this film has a great music score that was reused in lots of other films. And of course there's the brilliant scene where they create the bride and they use this brilliant set with all the lights, and I thought that was an outstanding scene. And it's great when she meets the monster as well and she starts screaming her head off at him.
Friend?
So although she was only in one film, she's such an iconic image that there's lots of dolls and lots of merchandise of her image. It made such a great impact with her hair and everything. So when you go to conventions, you still see people dressed up as the Bride of Frankenstein. Hey, Phil, why didn't bloody the Doctor give her bigger tits? He maybe had trouble finding a good pair, Bones. And the film ends where the monster pulls this convenient lever to destroy the castle, and he uses this brilliant last line, "We belong dead."
We belong dead.
So it's a great line to end the film on, "We belong dead." So everything about this film's really well done. It's a masterpiece, actually. It's my personal favourite of all the Universal monster films. So out of 10, I've got to give it 10, 11. 11 out of 10. Brilliant film. It reminds us so much of Frankenstein, the True Story, where that monster's getting intelligent and the bride's created. In that case, it's Jane Seymour. So that's an outstanding adaptation of Frankenstein as well. So what did you think, Bones? Did you like it? I thought it was a bloody good film, Phil. But the bride had no rack on her. Bloody Frankenstein could have given her a better pair of bloody knockers. So next in the Frankenstein series is Son of Frankenstein from 1939. That also has Boris Karloff as the monster. So look out for that review sometime. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe and share. Bye everybody, bye. Bye.
To a new world of gods and monsters.